Welcome back from the break. Glad to have your company this Monday evening. We're coming to you live from St. Mary's Stadium, Chitende, here, the southern part of Kampala. We're closer to Lake Victoria. It has been a cold day, but I must say the lights are keeping us warm here, as well as the wonderful hospitality from the people here, the home of Vipers Sports Club. Now, joining us, it's a great honor and privilege, I must say, to have Dr. Lawrence Mulindwa, a philanthropist, an educationist, and probably the greatest investor in local sport in Uganda. What he has done for sport, indeed, he has left a great legacy, and he's still going forward. They have gifted us with shirts which actually have Sport Nights at the back. So I guess we'll be coming here more often to do the show Monitor. Live. Oh, that one has Daily Monitor, but that's our sister company anyway. So, Dr. Lawrence Mulindwa, you don't usually speak to the press. Thank you for finding time in your busy schedule to allow our humble request and join us on the panel this Monday evening. Good to see you.
Good to see you, Mebo. Good evening, dear viewers. As Vipers Sports Club, we are also honored to have this great show at St. Mary's Stadium, the home of Vipers Sports Club. I want to welcome all of you, Mebo. I can see my friend Ismail, Andrew, Daniela, and Crive. It is a great honor to have this great team at St. Mary's Stadium.
I must say we are humbled. I saw you go over to greet Clive and I said, you know. Anyway, let's start by talking about Vipers Day, which is happening, I believe, this weekend.
Yeah, Vipers Day is going to be a very great day. We normally reserve this day every year to have such a celebration. Of course, we are celebrating achievements of Vipers Sports Club. That's the day when we express our solidarity with the different stakeholders of Vipers Sports Club and the friends of Vipers Sports Club. It is the day when we engage our fans, when we come together, and then we forge forward how best we can push Vipers to the next level. So it's going to be a very great day, and it's going to take place on 27th of July 2024. That will be this Saturday, the coming Saturday. So it is really a very big day when it comes to Vipers Sports Club. It is a family day. It's a day out for Vipers Sports Club.
Okay. And how will people, how much do they need to pay? Is it free?
It is almost free. We just put a small fee just to cater for some few expenses which may be there. Also to control the numbers, because if you make it open, then it might be very difficult to control these numbers. But what is going to happen that every person who enters will be expected to part out with 10,000 shillings, which is very minimal. And then at the same time, out of that money which they have paid, we expect them to be fed. It is a feast day. We shall give them drinks, we shall give things to eat. There will be entertainment, and above all, it is a day when we are going to meet different people. So it goes beyond even eating. It is a day when we come together. It's a day out, just as a family we go to the beach and entertain itself. So we expect everybody to be here. We expect to open the gates at around 12 noon for our people to enter, and from that time, the entertainment will commence. There are a number of activities that will be there on that day, and we hope to end the day with a football match that Vipers Sports Club will play against a team from Kenya, that is Kenya Police FC, the team that is going to represent Kenya in the Confederation Cup. So it's going to be a very big game around the 7 p.m. in the evening. So there's going to be a lot that is going to be there on that day.
Dr. Mulinda, we've been chasing this interview for several years, and we haven't had the chance to have you in this kind of setting. We've had you at press conferences. Some of us have had one-on-one conversations. Some haven't ended well because you found some voices critical or some questions unwelcome. But when you look at the history of the club, I've seen and had radio adverts that talk about the ex-players. And it's something that you and I have had a conversation about before. How many of these ex-players are going to be able to be here And what's the purpose of having games still part of the club? And I remember I always mentioned to you that if Robert Chimuli is not here, then this is not Vipers.
True.
Yeah, because he was the first captain when you won the league back in 2009, which was the first league title at the time.
That's right. I think that is one of the aims of having this day, to bring everybody on board. Not forgetting even our agent, that people really did a lot to this club, and we still remember them. So it will be that day when we shall have, because we have organized a match on that day, we shall have the regents playing against the fans on that very day. I think the game will be around 3 p.m. And the day when we expect some of those people who did a lot for the club, they might have gone to other clubs, some of them might have stopped at Vipers Sports Club, some of them might even have gone outside the country. But what is important, we want to see that we appreciate their contribution during that time when they are here. There are so many names which I have mentioned, like Chimuli. I think he's one of the greatest players that we have had. He was in this team for almost close to 9 years, and he was the captain of the team. And he did a lot up to this time. He's still serving Vipers Sports Club. There are so many other people who have been here. They talk about people like Odu Tone.
Yeah.
These are great players of the Owen Kasule. We have Mike Mutiaba. We have Caesar Okuti. These are some of the great players that have passed through Vipers Sports Club. So it is a day that they will be here, and then they will be interacting with the present players that we have, and it will be a great day for them. No, it is also very important always to remember those ones who have done a lot to the club. When you look at Vipers Sports Club, where it is now, at the stage where it has been growing over time. And it is very important for a club that is growing to have such activities like that one which we organize such a function. Because it shows maturity, that you have emerged from a certain stage and you are somewhere there. Some people have been asking, why is Vipers organizing such a function? It is still young. Why not all those old? For us, we feel we are mature enough now. We are mature and ready to showcase the rest of the clubs.
Are you inviting players who went to KCCA?
There is no problem. We have no problem. I'm talking about Sizo Kuti. They went to. I'm talking about Mike Mutiaba one time was in the KCC. Yeah. In fact, I'm looking for Shaban. Yeah. Shaban Muhammad. I want him to be here. I don't know whether he's out of the country.
You want to sign him? Currently, he's a free agent.
No, signing. But we always be Viper, you know.
Doctor, on a lighter note, Ismail asked if players who cross from Vipers to KCFC are welcome, and yes, indeed, you said they're welcome. But on a lighter note, we want you to confirm or deny that when preparations were going on for this big day, especially when the list of entertainers came out, people will be entertaining the guests on that day, and know that there are names that popped up, and we are told that those names were chopped off the list because at one time they performed on the KCCA day. Is this true or false?
That one is false. It can't happen because these people are free. They can go to any club. They can go to anywhere. You cannot stop a player, a musician or an artist that he went to express, then he cannot perform here. There you will be myopic. I don't think it take that conversation.
So the fans should expect winning Waji here on that day.
Whoever, I don't know the organizers what they have in store, but anybody can come and perform.
Yeah, Doctor, you have always had fun days, and this is also meant to include the fans. But what is going to be very different about this Vipers Day? What is that special, event, or what is that special thing that you're going to be doing, the different special things that you're going to be doing on Vipers Day, apart from the fanfare and the general perception of the public?
Oh, thank you so much. Because now what we have been having for the past 4 editions, we have been having fans here, and then we would call it a Fans Day. This time, it is Vipers Day. On Fans Day, we would only call the fans who would come, and then they meet the management of Vipers Sports Club. We would have a football match and so on. But this time around, we widen it. We want different stakeholders, because Vipers is not only about the fans. There are also other stakeholders, other players who are there, like our sponsors. In the past, we have not been having sponsors coming on board. We have other clubs who wish well, like KCC. I'm going to invite Clive in his capacity as a strong fan of KCC to come here on such a day on Vipers Day. Then plus other stakeholders whom we hope can be here. We are talking about the sponsors, we are talking about the government, we are talking about our our bankers, and so many other people whom we think they have helped this club to reach this far. So in the past we used to have the fans day, and they would only have a few fans who would come, and then at this time around we widen it. That's why we went an extra mile, and then we even invited a team from outside to come here, and then it becomes a bigger thing because we feel Vipers now is big enough.
Mr. President, thank you for coming to the show. Mine are two. One, we want to go beyond Vipers Day on Saturday.
Right.
What's the end in mind? In 5 years, 10 years, we know the likes of Yanga, Simba have these days where they invite the very best on the continent. You were invited as well.
Yeah, they invited Vipers the other year.
The other year. And you were not good visitors because you beat the hosts, I think. Yeah. So what's the end in mind beyond Saturday? What do you want to achieve when you look back 5 years, 10 years from now on this whole Vipers Day? What would you want to look at and say, yeah, I'm glad I started that? And the other one is Vipers, when you came to the top division, I could mention several other 10 clubs around that period. You know, the likes of Firemasters, the likes of
Victoria University,
Victors, several really, that came up, went back, others not just going back, but they actually disappeared off the scene. But you kept stepping up, going a gear, and now 6 league titles, I think 3 FA Cups, and now you only talk the Continental language. Although that's not the case this year. But for someone there who is starting a club, what advice would you give them of how to stay up? So those are 2 questions. I don't know if you remember them. One, end in mind, beyond Vipers Day on Saturday. And what do you tell someone who has a club to just keep going at least every other year?
Thank you so much. One, we as Vipers, we are very proud of our club, and we have a very big dream for this club, a very big vision which is being shared. We want to be number 1 at the continent level, and we are aiming at that. There are so many indicators why you want to be there. But you have talked about clubs that came, and after 2 or 3 years, they are nowhere to be mentioned. But Vipers, from what you see, even where we are sitting here, someone who is going to leave football cannot have such a facility. That means we came to stay. So an indicator that we shall permanently stay in this game, and we shall continue promoting it. 2, we have big plans because of our vision. For us, we don't want to end there. That's why it is very good that Andrew, you talked about it. For us, we're not looking at the local league. This is what normally where the problem comes from. When people win the trophies, they celebrate for almost half of the year without thinking what is going to happen next. But for us, we normally think about beyond Ugandan football. And I'm happy that in the last 10 years, in the last decade, I think it has been Vipers which has taken the biggest number of trophies. I think we have taken 6 out of the 10 years. That's something great to a younger club like a Vipers Sports Club. So we have big plans for this club, apart from having such a day on 27th, but we look beyond. So that day will be for stock taking. That's when we have the reflection and see how we are going to have the team in the next, may I talk about in the next 10 years. I don't want even to talk about the next 3 or 5 years. It is too short. But I'm looking at Vipers in the next 10 years, and we're aiming at that. 1, we have plans of expanding the stadium which you see here. I'm not contented with what we have, though it gives us a starting point. And I would wish to congratulate Vipers Sports Club for having achieved this, because I was reading through the list of the stadia that were approved by CAF. There are only 3 privately owned stadia in the whole continent. One owned by TP Mazembe, one owned by Vipers Sports Club, and another one by Azam. You can correct me if I have gone wrong. So it's not a mini achievement. That means we have big plans. And already we have a blueprint for that, to have this stadium being expanded and making it more modern in the future. 2, we hope to have a full-fledged academy, because we want to see an academy which can be a feeder to Vipers Sports. Already we have St. Mary's Chitende, but we want to be fully-fledged, to be beyond that one, because now that is more of a school and whatever. We hope to have something which is beyond that one, which can even attract other talents, younger talents outside just as you see some academies in West Africa and then in South Africa and maybe in Qatar. At least I got a chance of visiting some of those academies, and I saw out there they are doing things, because at times we may not do what we want because of the requirements of the school and so on. So we want one which is fully-fledged and can be run. I think it can be one way which can help in players' development, because St. Mary's Vipers Sports Club has done a lot in that aspect when it comes to the talent development or players' development. You have seen players coming out of this arrangement of ours, of Vipers Sports Club. Going players like Aziz Kayondo, players like Bobos, Farukumia, all these are products of Okwi, Emmanuel, and so many others who have come out of our good programs of Vipers Sports Club. So we hope that once we invest more in these academies, I think it will help the club, at the same time even the country. Because I don't only stop at looking at Vipers Sports Club, but I also look, as a patriot, I also look at Uganda in general, because this is an area that we are missing, being that we are lacking established academies here. Though we call them academies, but I put them in quotes. You cannot have an academy without providing education. Education, it is a requirement for an academy. So we want to see that we have these academies which can help, and at the long run to help even these clubs which are here. Because when you look at all these clubs here in the big league, in the Premier League, there is no club that you can talk about that doesn't have an academy, a player
from here. A player
from our program. Clive, you know it very well. So we hope that one will help us to have an academy that can help. 3, we are also looking beyond. Yes, there are some people who have been so kind to Vipers Sports Club, including me. But we hope to put in place to invest more, so that we have self-sustaining projects, so that minus Mulindwa, minus Sekanche or any other funder who tries to help Vipers Sports Club, the club can stand on its own. These are projects that we are looking at, and already we have planned to start real estates. Agriculture we started, and we are getting good money out of it. We want to start production of services, manufacturing. All those are plans that we have, so that even if some of us will leave this earth, Vipers Sports Club can continue standing. It answers the first question that you say, that some clubs start, but they cannot sustain themselves because of depending on one person. So we are trying to address that shortfall, so that at the end of the day, we can have a club that is self-sustaining. And that is very important. Players development and technical development is also very important. Very important. And we're giving it a lot of attention. We want to see these players. We are proud that some of these players who have been here, we have helped them to turn into very useful people. There are some players who played for Vipers Sports Club. Now they are coaches, and they are advancing from one stage to the other. We have the likes of the Bengals, the likes of Mutiaba Mike. We have my friend from Arua. Who is this one? Sizokuti. We have Chimuli. He has a team, plus many others whom we think we can help. So if you could help the technical part of it, I think we shall be talking about the stronger team. We have been always trying to define what you mean by a great team. It's not about winning the trophies. That's what people have been doing. We have won the trophy this number of times. What do you have to show on the ground? These are some of the things that must be shown. The products. So that they are tangible and you can talk about But it's not about trophies, because the trophy can be won by anybody. Even a club can come one year and take the trophy and represent us. It is very possible. But we are not saying it is a great club. And this is what I'm trying to address. And being that I was at the top of administration of Ugandan football, I feel it is my duty always to bring these innovatives which you see. To ensure that now, like having the Vipers Day, a club's day, is something that some clubs are not thought about, but it's very important. It's not showing off, but it's very important. And I call upon other clubs to emulate it. Because, yes.
Okay, sorry to cut you, but I just wanted, and I believe that has also answered part of Andrew's second question. But if you could just tell us, we'll talk about, yes, you being at the helm of the football administration a bit later, but your journey into football, starting with Bunamwaya FC.
Because, Bebo, as you asked that question, our guest should tell us how he walks out of Wankurukuku, because he's an Express fan. He has never denied how he walks out of Wankurukuku and comes to Vipers, who actually introduced him to Bunamwaya, because this club before then was called Bunamwaya. By then Bunamwaya was a very dusty neighborhood. Now it has a bit of tarmac and looks modern. The Rolex tastes better than it. So there's been an improvement. How does Dr. Lawrence Mulindwa come into football at this level, at Bunamwaya?
First of all, if you trace my history, I loved football when I was still young. I think from primary school. And when I went to Namilyango, I think that's when really I did a lot when it comes to football and boxing. I was a boxer at Namilyango College, but at the same time also played football for the school team. And when I went to Makerere University, still as a member of Livingstone, I also played some football for Livingstone. Then later on, I had a lot of interest in football, just as you have said. By that time, when I was at the university, I was staying close to Bunamwaya, because in fact that's the area which you are talking about. I had a brother there in Bunamwaya where I was staying. So I kept on seeing the Bunamwaya team praying and whatever, with some people were there. By that time, I think we had the Aruna Choves, the Tadeo, Chitandwe, plus others who were there, and they were my friends. I get close to the team, and that's when I became the chairman of that club. That was Bunamwaya. By that time, it was in the lower division. By that time, we used to call it first division, which is equivalent now to the fourth division, because it was playing district league. And I was the chairman, I think, for about 4 years before we are promoted to the super division in 2005, around that time.
Maybe, Mr. Mulindwa,
yes,
as you continue, the question I would love to ask, why Bunamwaya? Because you had Reza close to you, and at the same time they were at the same level playing in the same division, but you decided to go a distance further to Bunamwaya and not Reza.
By that time, Reza was not there. But in 2000, I was closer to Bunamwaya because I don't come to the site. I don't yet come to Chitende. Chitende started in 2001. Now what I'm talking about is around 1998, 1999, when it was playing in the lower division, before I shifted it to this side of Reza. So I was staying close to Zena. That's where I was staying by that time, and that's why it was easier for me. And we had that playing field with FUFA, if you know it. Yes. So that's how I came close to Bunamwaya until when it was promoted.
Already you are fun. You're already a fan. You are a teacher, so you had access to people.
It's in the community.
Yeah, you are.
That's a community club.
But
Express was already successful. Why not? Why did you decide to go and pick something from the bottom of the pit and not join a club that was at the mountain at the time?
That has been my way of doing things. Remember where I found this the Bunamwaya, the Vipers. That's how I do my things. How I started St. Mary's Chitende. I would have gone to another bigger school, maybe St. Mary's College, Chisubi, and be there. But I normally believe in starting something and then I move with it. And that one did not stop me from supporting Express. I used to be a very good fan of
Stone Throw.
But that was order of the day. There was no way.
You still carry stones in your jacket?
No, not now. But But by that time it was traditional, you know, it was part of the game, and we used to enjoy. I think it was like by that was in the early 1990s. I think that was the time, and we used to enjoy football at Nachifobo. And when I was in Naviriango, we used to watch Express when it was playing in the Mukono. I think that was what. Chetume. I think Vera was that had made it as its home ground, so they would play with Express and they would go there. So me, up to now, I still have that blood of Express. I cannot deny it. I love my club. There is no problem. But now, of course, I'm a supporter and a fan total of Vipers.
Okay, we have got to take a short break. Just to remind you that we are here live in Chitende at St. Mary's Stadium, the home of Vipers Sports Club, speaking to the president himself, Dr. Lawrence Mulindwa. We are proudly sponsored by Plascon, that also sponsors the club here, and also DSTV, where you'll be able to watch all the best leagues in the world live and in HD. Now, Dr. Mulindwa, you've told us how you started and how you like to bring things from, you know, at a low place and bringing them up. I don't know, is that how you saw FUFA when you decided to join or decided to run? Or what made you aspire to the greatest office of football administration in Uganda?
Well, when I joined the FUFA, in Pakistan people, some of them, they think that I just came from nowhere and I became president of FUFA. But after a careful study of how things were moving by that time, that was around 2004.
Yeah.
There was a lot of chaos, which I would say, and maybe I would term it as anarchy when it came to football administration. That was a time when, I don't know whether you remember that story of the 23 goals.
2022, a call FC.
The Arrow Boys. All those evils associated with the football. Had to sacrifice myself. By that time, I was in the administration of football through schools. And being the head of the school by that time, of course, we had a team at school called St. Mary's Chitende, which was doing very well, was very active in football. We had just taken the national trophies. We are representing Uganda at East African level. I had to sacrifice myself to clear the mess, because I knew if I had not come out, of course, things were not going to normalize. Things were going very bad, from bad to worse, every moment. And there was a lot of, so many things, maladministration, the whole thing. So I had to sacrifice myself. That was the time when the FUFA house was about to be taken, if you could remember, by some people who had
lent the federation money.
money. So I had to come in to sacrifice myself to ensure that there is something being done. So what I did was to present myself as one of the candidates, of course, by going through Wakiso district as a delegate. And lucky enough, I was supported by those ones who were close to me. And I became the delegate for Wakiso district. And from there, I never stopped. I went and picked the papers, contesting for the presidency of FUFA. You remember how hard it was, because we campaigned for more than 1 year. We had started, then the elections were cancelled by the government, by the Minister of Education, Honorable Geraldine Namirembe Bitamazire, because of some few issues with the administration that was in place. I think that was of Mr. Oboja by that time. So they were crossed, they were cancelled, and we never had the elections. It took us, I think, close to 11 months.
We were under normalization.
Yeah, it was very expensive for us, but we had to take it that way. And at the end of the day, I became the savior of football, which you are enjoying today. For those ones who are not there, you don't know what transpired. You are just seeing.
Mr. Mulindwa,
yes.
Maybe just to clear the air, before you become the savior of Ugandan football,
Please.
there was this group, Save Our Soccer. And at the time, most of us weren't practicing, but were following the events. It looked like they are the people who engineered your coming into the federation.
I don't know what I think it was also one group that was fighting, just like when the NRM was fighting. We had FEDEM, we had other groups which we are fighting. And at the end of the day, the NRM took the day. So also, they had already started their fighting, maybe against Oboja. But I want to make it clear that nobody came at that time and maybe supported me. In any case, maybe at first they were supporting Okirori. That's what I knew. Their candidate was Okirori, who was the closest contestant to Mr. Oboja by that time. But on the way, of course, toward the end, when everything looked to be very obvious that I was taking the day, of course, people had to join because they were for football and they had to join the winning team. And that's how we worked with them.
But they didn't stay long with the winning team.
We stayed together because I remember all the three. I worked with Mr. Dennis Mbide, Mr. Odrin. And
guys still work with right
yes,
now because of
our lawyer, Mwema, we worked with them, was the legal advisor to the federation, all of them. Mr. Odrin was in charge of branding and marketing, and they did great work with Mr. Mbide. We worked with them.
Yes.
I have no regret for them.
Dr. Mulindwa, finally you come in as the savior for Ugandan football. What are some of the achievements and the highlights that we can look out for that you registered during your time as FUFA president? Yeah,
because one thing that I restored was sanity, which and people's trust in the game. Because after that episode of the 23 goals, nobody would have loved to continue associating with the game, because they couldn't imagine a team being scored 22 goals. And I don't want even to repeat that one, because you know what happened when that game was being played. So I had a lot of work to do to bring back people to the stadium, to ensure that I bring back trust of the people to support our football. And that was a time when the Cranes, I think, we have not had the Cranes support as we used to have. That brand, even destroying the brand of the Cranes. Because remember, by the time, before I came, what year it transpired, I watched one game. Before I came, I think it was about 2 weeks before I became the president. We had the game at Nambole. We hardly had 200 people who watched that game. I think it was Uganda versus Burkina Faso, and had hardly 200 people who watched that game. It was an evening game. So people had lost everything. But remember, by the time I left the federation, we would send away people to the stadium, would come to full capacity, and then would just request people, pleading with them, please, the stadium is full, can we watch from outside? We used to put televisions here and there. So that was one thing, the restoring the brand of the national team, because that is the most important thing. And also giving hope to the people that football is back, and please let us come and support it. I was able to attract sponsors who were not there. M10 became very active. We had Go TV, which came on board. We had Nile Breweries and other companies that came and started supporting football, which was not there by that time. We had to bring corporate governance. We introduced the position of the executive, chief executive officer, where we brought in Mr. Mulinda, and later on we had Edgar Watson. I think that was also something, even the respect for the position of the presidency at FUFA House in Mengo, which was not there. At least now people would come and see that the president is sitting and would be happy, and we put to proper use the federation facility at Mengo. I think that was also something very important. Even to the CAF and FIFA. At least they started recognizing, respecting, and so many other things. That was a time when we had to build the Njeru Center because of the trust that FIFA now had in that federation by that time. So I feel there was a lot that was done. We marketed the game, and really people gained confidence in what we are doing.
There's also a thought that you used to invest a lot of personal money into football, the national team in particular. And the question that has always lingered in people's minds is, how did you use to recover this money?
This is where people go wrong. That's why you talked about a team that they start, and at the end of the day, they don't get anything out of it. How much am I getting out of this stadium now, as per now? Either if you normally watch these games, people who come and watch paying 10,000, how much is collected for a single game? But how much do we invest in? For us, we look at long-term gains and goals. Me, I'm happy that Cranes, at least we are able to build that confidence, and we are able to rebrand the Cranes by that time. Of course, by that time we had problems. We would go to the government. The government also had problems by that time. They're looking at the development of infrastructure. There was security problems and so many other things that the government was working on. It is only like this time. And I remember by that time, I visited the president several times, His Excellency the President, and he would say, now, give me time, because now I'm addressing some issues, electricity, this and that. But when that time comes, we shall be able to support the national team. And when that time came, the president started and the government started to support the team, and we are very happy with that one as football. So that one was a sacrifice that was made, but a positive sacrifice, and I'm happy for that.
Mr. President, towards the end of your tenure as FUFA president, those last years, the Cranes just fell short every other qualifying campaign. A point, or last day, a goal, including to 2011.
The Kenyan incident.
Yes, so that in itself, when you go to bed, do you still look back and say maybe? And then also you talked about rescuing football, especially league football. At the time you left as well, it wasn't a call issue, but there was also a little bit of anarchy because we had two leagues
at the time,
around 2012, and then 2013, and then finally 2014 things, got back. So where you left, especially the league, and that's what happened, and also that nearly there, AFCON, do you sleep well with it?
Oh, nearly there. Those things happened, it's very true.
Yeah.
But me, I'm just happy that we built a team. It was just a matter of time, and everything has got its own time.
Sure.
And when you look at that time when I left, I think it took the Cranes about 2 years when it qualified for the African Cup of Nations. Maybe we underestimated that we are ready by that time, but when we are not yet ready, we had to give it time. Because so many things had gone wrong before I came in. So it required more time to build this team and have it in place. So everything has got its own time, and maybe also Laka was not there by that time. But I would feel that work was done, and I'm happy for that because it just took 2 years. Then the team was able...
Three,
because they eventually qualified in 2016.
That's right. Then they were able to qualify almost using the same squad that we had built. So I'm happy for that contribution that was made. Regarding the reach, about the confusion that was there, in football, those things happen. And remember, we had inherited people who didn't accept us. Some of them remained fighting underground for their personal gains and so on. But we tried our level best to ensure that we bring sanity. But we had those forces which were doing anti-football. But I'm happy that still we are able to continue providing direction to Ugandan football.
Now, throughout that tenure of the 8 years, probably the most famous incident involving the Uganda Cranes must have been that incident that preceded the game against Kenya. The expulsion of David Obua from the national team camp. You were the president. You were at the stadium that day for the training conducted by the then coach Bob Williamson as the president. Yoweri Museveni came to see the team at training. To this day, we've never got the truth, the actual truth about the incident. Did Bob Williamson expel Obua? Did the FUFA president expel a player? And in this case, we demand the FUFA president is not technical. And many of us think if that Obua incident had not happened, maybe we shot ourselves in the foot.
Oh, you have reminded me of that nasty incident. But what I can recall, I think it was on the eve of the match, and it was last training.
Friday, the game is Saturday.
Yes, when the head of state confirmed his willingness to come and talk to the team at Nambore Stadium, and it was at short notice, I remember. It was around the 8 a.m. and the training had to end at around 11. So the visit was confirmed around 10 a.m. and they told that the president has set off and is coming to Nambole. I remember I was there at Nambole with the chairman of the Nambole. Then the head coach by that time was Bobby, who was there, plus other officials of the technical team who were there by that time. And I remember I talked to the coach that the head of state will be coming to talk to you, and when he arrives, make sure that you are around together with all the players, because he was coming to talk to them to morale boost the team, because it was a very important game that had been really given a lot of advertisement, and the people really were waiting for the results. So it was around, I think it was around 11 a.m. when the convoy of the president was arriving, and then these players had to come from the dressing room, going to the middle of the field where the president was supposed to address them from. And the coach entered the field, plus the rest of the players. I also entered there. Then it was noted that before the president entered, there was some players who were missing. I think there were 3 of them. Then eventually they took him. I don't remember the names of those players. Then the coach asked them, where is David? Because there was one who was missing. Then they told him, no, David is not going to come. He has said he's not going to attend because you told him that they should not ask questions. When they don't ask the president question when he comes. So he has said it doesn't make any sense for him to come if he's denied to ask any question. So I think that one did not go well to the coach. Being a disciplinarian, he went ahead and after the brief by the president, when the president left, he went and had all the players, he addressed them, and from there he said, I don't want you again on my team because you have showed a lot of indiscipline. Head of state has come and you refuse to come along with other players. And that's how it happened. So to answer your question, it was a coach who suspended David Oboja.
So does that mean that when you hire your coaches, you trust them, you do not interfere in their work at all? And that question is true for clubs as well as the country?
That is under corporate governance. A professional man like me, I cannot interfere, but I can intervene. But I don't interfere.
Okay, I think we shall Google the difference between interfering and intervening. But just before we go on to our next topic, I just wanted to read a few messages here. Someone says, King of Good Vibes, says, Lawrence Mulindwa is a gift that keeps giving to Ugandan football. If there is one man I believe will take these club places, it's him. Great interview on the show today. We have Nicholas Walusimbi says he's watching at home. He's watching his president and giving us a brief on the forthcoming day. Thanks a lot. Let's be there. And then we have one message from Dixon Bond Okello who says, well done, Dr. Mulindwa. It's hard to beat a person who never gives up. A president of a top club in North Africa proudly displays his picture at Chitende. It's definitely a big achievement owning a modern stadium. But now we're going to talk about Vipers Sports Club and your, should I say, insatiable desire or appetite for success and the lengths you're willing to go through, including withdrawing the team from a Continental game.
Yeah. When they won their first league title, I think that's back in 2009. Vipers refused to represent Uganda. He wrote a letter and said the club will not represent the country in the CAF Champions League at the time. And over time, a lot has changed now.
But they didn't officially inform the public or even their fans. Because I remember when the draw was done and Vipers, Obunamaya at the time was nowhere to be seen and questions were being asked, I think the response we got, let us wait for the CEO to return from Cairo. He'll have the actual reason why Vipers is not in the draw. Then we only got to learn later that they actually didn't show their interest to take part in the competition.
Yeah, so in a decade has passed, and now, in a season like last where you finished third, it feels like this is going to be empty without Continental football because you've made it a habit. So what's changed from then to now? Is it the resources are more? Is it the appetite to now go out on the continent? What's changed? in that time?
Yeah, to answer the first question, that in 2009, by then, Bunamaya Sports Club, by virtue of being the champions of Uganda League, we failed to qualify. One reason was, just as Clive said, I had to look after the national team by that time. The national team also had engagements during that time. You know, by that time, I had to buy tickets for the national team. Yeah. For those ones who are following, it is me who used to buy these tickets, and the team would go outside whenever it would have the game. So it coincided with Bunamaya, and I had to sacrifice Bunamaya. That was only reason by that time. The national team needed the tickets, needed, of course, as you know, when the team is traveling to play another game, it is very expensive. And I couldn't make it. Still, Bunamaya needed me as a person to ensure that we buy tickets and we take care of it. So I had to look at the two, and they looked at a bigger picture. So sacrifice had to be made, and I had to sacrifice Bunamaya at the expense of the national team, and that's what happened. So we kept on, maybe because during that time I thought maybe the government would come in and save the situation. That's why it took us long. Those stories we are giving that, you know, let the CEO replied he's going to do this and that, because we are trying to see if we could get some money so that it caters for the national team. Then the little resources that I had would go for the Bunamaya. Then when I looked at the two, I said, no, I could not manage the two, and we had to
Mr. President, still on that, because that taps into the resources towards FUFA at your time and now. Of course, the resources have since increased, especially from FIFA as well to FUFA, and from government to FUFA. So given the current change or the current status of the FUFA today and yours and the resources, are you satisfied with how the game is being governed in the country now? And if you were in charge now, what would you do different?
I think we are moving well, and I'm happy that the funding has increased from the government and the FIFA and the CAF and the other partners of FUFA and the national team. That's what we want. What we want is, at the end of the day, is football to benefit out of it. I'm happy with it. There are so many programs which are being done currently, capacity building and so many other programs. I think we are moving on well.
What's your relationship like with Moses Magogo, the FUFA president?
My friend Magogo?
Yes. the friend who responded to you, the friend who responded to you in a letter, not a phone call, just recently.
But also, as you answer that thing about the relationship, there is a time you are doing a graduation party for one of your daughters. I think should have been clear. And there's that video that trended that emundu ngenda zijjayo kugombolola. That communicated a message of a relation that wasn't great. Was it not great at the time that is changed now, that now you call him your friend, or is it a relation that remains frosty between you two, considering you've worked together for some time?
But you know, when it comes to Mulinda and Magogo, we have a very rich history.
Yeah.
How we started the struggle, how the struggle started up to this time. I think it is a project that we are trying to achieve and trying to see that it is growing. But you know, some people brought it out of proportion. There is a struggle, there is something wrong with Mulinda and Magogo. At times we may differ on certain principles, but personally I have no problem with him. There is no problem. And he knows it very well. I also know it very well. But at times we make some comments.
Yes.
He may make one on behalf of FUFA. I also make one on behalf of football development or Vipers, not in bad faith, not attacking him as a person, but in be talking something just for the sake of ensuring that things which are not going on wrong or which are not going on well, they are corrected. That's all, but not on personal attack.
Then maybe on that very issue, when you decide to step away from the FUFA presidency, at the time there was a chance for Moses Magogo to take over, or Darius Mugisha to take over. Justice, I beg your pardon, to take over. Some of us weren't close to those corridors, all the meetings and all that. How then do you people at the executive level decide that it should be Moses Magoganda and not just as Mugisha? Because we are told that you had a very big say in that decision.
Not executive level. What did you say? You as the president, what did you say?
Okay, you as the president, what did you say to choose Magoga head of?
Yeah, because remember when I decided to leave, most of my executive never wanted me to do it. And that last meeting when I told them that I will not stand, remember it was 4 days, I think, to the end of
your term.
Not at the end of the term, people were picking the nomination forms because we had given them, I think, 6 days. 2 days and 3 days, I think 3 days to the end. 3 days had gone and nobody had picked the paper. I thought one would come because I already had talked to them. I'm not standing, but I think they thought I was joking that I was going to come back. But I confirmed them. I had a meeting at FUFA House. I called all the executive members and I confirmed to them that, please, I'm not coming for the 3rd term. And I need to see continuity. This is a project. So one of you must come out and repress me. Then, of course, most of them pleaded. They never wanted me to move away. They never wanted. Some of them came to my home. Please, can you continue? Can you continue? Give us another time. Give another time. I said, no, enough is enough. 2 terms are enough for me. So eventually, as you asked, Mr. Justice Mugisha and Engineer Moses Magogo, they came out and I am on the eve of the closing of the nomination. I met them, 2 of them, in my office. Justice was sitting here at FUFA House. Remember, I was still the president. I had to conduct the elections. So I met them one morning. Mugisha was sitting here, Engineer Magogo was sitting, and I was here. And then I said, no, I don't want to see you fighting. How best can we handle this issue so that we don't, because all of you are my people. I have worked with you. We have worked for all this long. We don't want to see people. If you split this federation, then at the end of the day, we were able to come out with one candidate and the other one accepted. Mugisha accepted that I will become the first president and this one will become the president. Because it took us almost an hour to have that consensus because at first both of them wanted until when Mugisha said, no, please, I'm ready with your advice from the president. Please, I'm ready to take up the position of the first vice president and become the president. So that means I was supportive. I embraced the whole thing.
Yeah.
Then I organized the elections in Ijija. And then Magogo came out and opposed.
Oh.
Yes.
That is intervening, not interfering.
Actually,
very good. You have defined it so well.
Mr. President,
Yes, please.
were you pushed or you just voluntarily decided to quit?
Or did you jump?
Was I pushed?
Yes.
Or did you jump?
No, I was not voluntarily. In me, I believed that I had done my part. I told you I came to the federation to serve. I sacrificed myself. And when that time came and I thought I'd done some work and somebody would take over, and especially those people I've worked with, then the federation would go on. Nobody pushed me. Because remember, by that time, 2 days to the close of the nomination, nobody had picked even a single nomination paper.
Perhaps they were fearing you.
That means if I'd wanted, I would have gone for the 3rd term.
Mr. President, just to stay there, do you see yourself coming back as a FUFA president sometime in future, or that chapter is closed?
Me coming back as a FUFA president?
Yeah.
That's undermining me.
Oh, wow.
No.
Okay, you can explain that.
There's so many ways how I can, just as what I'm doing now, I'm serving football.
Serve football.
If I had remained in a federation, I would not have built this one. The media would have said, oh, the money came from CAF. The man has eaten money from the money is from the president. You know? So,
and Doctor, this is a very
vision.
This Viper is a very big project.
Yes.
And speaking of it and how it operates, we go back to intervening and interfering.
Please.
The rate of turnover of the coaches here at Vipers has caused a lot of alarm out there. Maybe we need you to clear the air on that. And also, we would like to know, I'll come back to that, but still first clear the air on the rate of turnover of coaches. Also, your take on local coaches.
There are coaches you unveil, and I've been here for several unveilings of your coaches. and I leave that press room, very sure that coach will not last. And that's I leave that press room knowing Onomuwade Mieze Nabagenda Mogoba. I was relatively impressed by Kavazovic, the current coach. When you unveiled him, he looked like he will stay a bit of time. But most of the time when the coaches are leaving, the first thing the public out there is saying is that it's because the club president has interfered with what they are doing.
Yeah, but this when you talk about the current coach, in Luganda they say Amusibiri Ntanda, and he said, go beat everybody, score as many goals as you wish.
Yeah.
And
if you don't do it, we have standards. That's what he used. That's actually the term he used.
They have standards.
There is no administrator who would love to see that kind of rate of turnover when it is too great that coaches are leaving. By the way, when you look at my style of management, I'm a very patient person. When you look at the school, St. Mary's Chitende, I have coaches that whom I started working with in 2004. The Gorola, the Waswa, the Malays now, they're over 50. Almost all these coaches who are here.
True.
And they don't win every year. And they don't win every year.
They don't win every year, very good. Including even in netball. Even the teachers. Those whom I started with, the head teachers whom I started with, they are still here. I'm working with them for all 24 years. We celebrate 24 years now. Now when it comes to the club, we have had players who have remained here for all those years. And they are still with us. They have the captain, they have remained here. Now when it comes to the coaches, maybe I might have been very unfortunate that at times I don't get the right people. Because when we are recruiting these people, there are so many things that we look at. One, we look at their qualifications. It's the most important thing, the first thing. They apply, they submit in their papers, and then we filter them. Those ones who qualify automatically, they end up becoming coaches at Viper Sports Club. By virtue of their qualification, they have Pro UEFA, they have CAF A, they have whatever. And on the paper, they may come here and they answer questions very well. They pass medical tests and whatever. So you give them the opportunity to coach the team. But at the end of the day, they run short of your targets. And especially, it's not about producing results, because results is a responsibility for everybody, including the president and everybody, the management and so on. But there are some few aspects which you look at. If you fail to do it, then it becomes very difficult to have that coach continuing being here. Because here we don't train coaches, we don't have the academy for coaches. So we think when he brings somebody, he's ready for work. And he must satisfy that one. Because for us, we believe in professionalism. And that's what the other time that you talked about with the coaches. It is very important.
Yeah, but Doctor, even the ones you mentioned that you are patient with at the school, when they get the opportunity to train to coach the football club, you're not patient with them.
To coach what?
The football club, Vipers. You're not patient with them.
Like who?
Gorola, Waswa, and all the others.
But Gorola did great work. He coached the Vipers for over 8 years. And he also brought some 2 major trophies.
But we thought
it was more useful to the youth program, and we benefit more through the youth program than being here. And we have benefited a lot out of you. Just like a Coach Waswa or Daniel Bale. Okay. We feel they are better when at that level they can help us. Because once you have a very strong foundation of the youth, then you can't go wrong.
Okay, Andrew, your question before you read the GOAT.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mr. President, school football. Chitende is seen as the Man City, Real Madrid in that area. You pick the cream of the cream from the very best. You can confirm here or maybe dismiss it. Some of the very best are got from different schools, and their parents are, just the same way the big club stocks parents try and, get the very best up to this place. Do you think that way you are building, because you are taking away from the very best and having them here, do you think you are building or weakening the opposition? And sometimes are meant to believe that money is involved. Does this money go to guardians, to the players themselves? That's something you can at least clear the air on.
I think that is wrong. What we have here, there are the strong structures we have. Because when you look at most of these players who have been great players here, the Tonodu joined when he was in senior 2. Biaruhanga Bobos was in senior 1. Aziz Kayondo, some of those great players who have been here, they started in lower classes in senior 1. They came from P7 and joined the school and have been building them. What people don't know is that we put in a lot, we invest a lot in the development, and that's why we have the best coaches. We are talking about the likes of Gorolas handling your players. People have been at the super division, people have been well groomed to handle these youth categories, and that's what we are doing. Our structures favors the development. So it's not about that we go to other schools. If that was what was being done, then already would have been beaten. Because there are so many also other schools which are big, isn't it? Here schools of Bukedea, we hear schools of Budo SS, we hear schools of St. Mary's College Subi, because they would also do the same and they would beat us. But for us, the secret behind here, why we excel in academics and excel in sports, we invest a lot to ensure that we work for those results. We don't just wait for that time when you just harvest. Most of these players that we are using, they are younger players, they are in O level. Most of them who, like now, who are in Masaka, there are very few who are in A level. Majority of them senior 3, senior 2. But because of our program, which is so good, we follow these players from primary. Maybe that's why we try to assist some of these people who will not be going to school. We assist them from primary. From primary, we bring them here.
Okay,
then we have...
Yes. Your final point before we go to the greatest of all time.
I wanted to ask one last one on development, because it is something that Mr. Mulindwa has consistently said time and again. But even in the press conferences here when he's unveiling coaches, he talks about developing players that the club can eventually sell in outside countries, Europe to be in particular. And it is 8 years since Vipers sold Mia Farouk to Standard Liège. Maybe you can also help us with the actual figure. And many thought that after that deal, it would have been an eye-opener to the project that is a Vipers Sports Club, or even St. Mary's, the school, to pay more attention to youth development so that you sell more players, or you get to send more players out of this country, like it was for Mia Farouk. But we've not really seen that conveyor belt producing more of those players who get out of the country.
But when you follow very closely, you discover that we have continued with that one. You have talked about Mia Farouk, but there are many other players that we have sold outside. We have Bobos, we talked about Biaruhanga Bobos. We have Azizi Kayondo, I think he comes. We have Basangwa. We have Mutiaba Travis. I don't know whether you are aware that is an old boy here of this school. The Okwi Emmanuel, all those ones were part of the O-level school here up to A-level.
Yeah, but Mia directly left here to go to Europe.
He was lucky by that time, but we have been, at least most of these players whom I have talked about now, they're in Europe. They may not be very much in advanced economies or regions, but at least they are trying to penetrate here and there.
Some of them graduated to journalism, like Raul Kanyike. I don't know whether they failed or graduated.
And what was the actual figure for Mia Farouk?
Yeah, the actual figure.
I don't recall. but it was good money.
I think at the time it was 1.4 billion, 400,000 US dollars.
Can we remind you? $400,000 minimum. Yeah. The money that you received from Mia Farouk?
No, it was beyond that one.
More than $400,000.
It was more than that one. It was good money, I remember. It was quite good money. It was quite good money.
Okay, Andrew, messages on X. Who are people saying is the greatest of all time player here?
Actually, most of the messages are on Vipers, but...
because the question was about the greatest player
of all time
out of Vipers. And it's probably a question, as Andrew searches, that the president of the club can answer.
And we want one name.
I can read a couple. Have you got it, Andrew? Okay, you read at least maybe 3 or 4.
Him 3.
Tim Ande says Farouk Mia, And Rulam Soga says Osomba. Ntegeka Martin says, okay, same as Mia. Then Ntegeka Martin says Caesar Lobby Manzoki. And then Mia is quite...
people are choosing Mia.
Yes, Mia.
I have a Milton Kalisa here.
Yes,
Tony
Kalisa as
Odu.
well. Wachiro Wadada, that's Sekide. Then we have also Mukundane from Esau. And then Wachiro Wadada. Mostly it's Mia, Wadada, Manzoki. Osomba has fans as well. Congolese Magnifico, Caesar Manzoki, Mia.
I have a Siraj Sentamu.
Mia is taking quite a Siraj Sentamu as well. The president can have a go at it. But just so you know, the feedback is quite immense on social media.
That's very immense.
Yes.
That's good.
And
I'm happy for that. If people are following,
yes.
And when you look at most of these players, they have talked about the recent players, I think. So they have not mentioned some of those players who were there before at that time, maybe the Chimulis. The Odu also did great work. Owen Kasule, very good. Some of them, there is even now. Yeah, most of them. Some of them did great work. So
we want your choice.
May I think, because there should be which parameters are we using to choose the greatest players. It can be a very big debate.
Many parameters who you worked with and enjoyed working with, discipline, results.
May I would say that that one needs another day where we should have a debate on that one, and then when the fans are being guided on how to choose, then they choose their own player. But I'm happy that all those names which have been mentioned, really they did great work. Yes.
And most of the messages, mainly I think, applauding Mr. President for his for his contribution and submission on the show. But I'll just pick one where someone called Omolo Joseph says government can think of working on the roads that lead to the stadium. And that's the question I wanted to bring to him, because one of the hindrances of coming to this club, even when CAF is doing the inspections and all, it's the access roads. I want to hear from you, Mr. President. Have you held any discussions with government to give you a hand on the access roads? And if you did, what was their response? And if you have not, you have an opportunity tonight to tell them exactly how you want to help you.
I think that is a very good question, and I will call upon the government to support some of us as local investors, because we may not necessarily need funding, we don't need money to construct these stadia, but when it comes to some of these infrastructure which would support the development of such a facility, I think the government would always come in. You asked whether we have engaged the government. We have done it several times. I have ever talked to the Minister of Education. I have ever talked to some authorities. And all what they have done, the other time I was here with the Minister of State for Sports, Honorable Gwang. We were here with the CAF delegation when it came here. And the CAF inspector mentioned it. He said, if you have to think about a stadium that can easily be improved and match with what CAF needs or FIFA at that level, when it can even host the final competitions of the CAF organized matches, it is this one, because he came here and saw there's room for expansion. And the only thing that he mentioned, the hindrance, were the roads. And the minister was there. Then the minister promised that when we go back, we shall try to see this and that. So far, nothing has been done.
Okay.
But for us, we are trying to do our work, and I hope, I call upon the government, that that's only what we need from the government to improve on this. When these roads coming to such a facility. Because there is no need, we should not be talking about only Nambore. We shouldn't be only talking about the stadium to be built when already we have something that can be improved upon. And it can help, because when you look at St. Mary's Stadium, it's not for Mulindwa, it's not for Vipers. The national team has ever played here several times. Even the FIFA World Qualifiers, we had one here. The CAF Qualifiers, we have had them several times.
Other national teams around the
So I think we need to do something. and support us. That's only what we need from the government.
At least the clubs are supporting you so far, and you're charging them some good money for the stadium.
But that money, we have very good working relationship with the clubs. In fact, when we talk about the Vipers Day, we are inviting all the president and the chief executives of these clubs,
including KCCA.
They'll be here on a Saturday. We want to be with them, the presidents of the clubs, so that we celebrate our achievement. We celebrate Uganda football. That's what we want.
Okay. But there is this question, briefly, maybe in a few seconds. One fan writes and says that almost all good coaches have been at your club. What made you not put Mike at Vipers Club? Actually, that also takes me back to that bit of the question, that is your perception of local coaches. Yes, Doctor.
Local coaches are very good because those are our coaches. I have no problem with them. And we are using them. We have local coaches at Vipers Sports Club. I don't know whether you are aware. We don't have only the foreign coaches. We have them. In some homes is there.
Oh yes, my OB is college.
Very good. Who is the deputy head coach? So we have them, plus other coaches who are there. And I've used them even in the past. So there is no problem with the local coaches. You talked about my OB, Mike Mutebe, with him in Amiliango. A very wonderful coach.
So haven't you given
I give him a lot of respect. Very wonderful coach. Uganda has
what happened the last time you almost signed him?
But that was media conversation.
Actually, Clive
because Clive, you never helped to have the man at.
I think we need another hour, but unfortunately our time is up. I don't know if we're going to play our predictions. We're going to play them, and then we will let you know our predictions. And we have a special one as Vipers will be taking on Kenya Police. So here are our predictions for last week.
Okay. They're rolling.
I'll start with you, Andrew. Euro Under-19 Championship, Denmark versus Spain.
Spain 1, Denmark 0.
Danielle?
Spain 2, Denmark 1.
Clive? I'll give this to Spain. Spain 2, Denmark 1. And then France versus Turkey.
France 2, Turkey or Turkey?
I don't know, but in the Euro I was hearing even the English
that should be
change the name, change the
okay. France 2, Turkey 0.
Okay. Daniel?
3-0 France.
1-0 Turkey.
I'll give it to Turkey as well. 2-1 in favor of Turkey. And then Rangers versus Manchester United.
I don't know. Anyway. Wow. 2-2.
Manchester.
I don't know even which players will play.
Manchester 2, Rangers 1.
Rashford probably.
Manchester United 2-1.
Okay, I'll also give it to Manchester United. And
it's interesting. I'll be the one to get the Manchester prediction wrong, but it's okay. It's pre-season.
Okay, so you can see how well we performed. This 27th, this weekend, Vipers will be hosting Kenya Police here at St. Mary's Chitende. So I'll start by asking the president, Dr. Mulindwa, who he thinks will win the game and by what score.
It is an international friendly, and I call upon all our fans and everybody who wishes Vipers well to come and watch that game.
Which will end?
It will be under floodlights, and I expect Vipers to win by a very good margin.
A very good margin. Can you give us a figure?
Very political.
Very good margin. I don't want to scare the visitors.
Okay. Isma?
Vipers 2, Kenya Police 0.
Andrew?
2-1 Vipers.
Danielle?
2-1 Vipers.
1-0 Vipers.
I'll go for 2-0 in favor of Vipers. And then on to the Olympics. President, Argentina versus Morocco. Football.
Argentina will win. 1-0.
Argentina 2, Morocco 1.
2-0 Argentina.
3-0 Argentina.
3-1 Argentina.
I want to give this to Morocco, 1-0. President, France versus USA.
Still Olympics.
Yes, Olympics. Yeah, the rest are Olympics.
3-1.
France.
France.
Hey, that one you are sure you got a score line.
France 2, USA 0.
Yeah, same. 2-0 France.
France 2, USA 1.
0-0.
I'll give this to France, probably 3-1. And then, President here, Egypt versus Dominican Republic.
2-0. Egypt.
Egypt 1, Dominican Republic 1.
3-1 Egypt.
Daniel?
2-0 Egypt.
1-1.
Okay, I'll give this to Egypt, 1-0. And then Mali versus Israel, Dr. Mulindwa.
1-1.
Mali 1, Israel 2.
Mali 1, Israel 0.
Mali 2, Israel 0.
2-1 Mali.
Okay, I'll give this a draw. And then a friendly, Arsenal versus Manchester United. What club do you support in the English Premier League, by the way?
Manchester United. the
Oh,
great team.
yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Very mad.
Okay, so Arsenal and United in a
No wonder
friendly.
they are red.
Doctor, who do you think will win?
It will be a tie. 2-2.
Arsenal 1, Manchester United 2.
Ismail is getting all my predictions tonight. I don't know why. 2-1 United. Yeah.
Okay, Daniel?
I'm giving Arsenal 3, United 1.
2-1 United.
I'll give this to Arsenal, 2-1. Andrew, who are people saying our guess?
Our recognize me.
Yes.
I have some news. All of them have got it right. Now, because they've got it right, I'm not going to read it, but I will just read the comment that is on that same post. And that comment says, that's from Patrick Caesar. On behalf of all Ugandans, I believe Dr. Mulindwa is the right man to take Ugandan football to the dreamland. I will be there on the 27th of July. Yeah, he will come on 27th, but on Mr. Mulindwa, Dr. Mulindwa taking us to the dreamland, I'm sorry to disappoint you because you're undermining him. Yeah.
Well, we have got to end the show, but it has been a fantastic time here at St. Mary's Chitende. Remember, 10,000 shillings will get you a ticket to come for Vipers Sports Club Day, which will be this 27th. Lots of entertainment. All the entertainers, whoever they have, just because they performed at KCCA, it has been cleared, does not mean they will not perform here. We will have a couple of games.
Give us a list of who is going to perform.
Pardon?
I know Vinka will be here.
He said he said.
If Vinka is here, I'll be here.
Well, we have a couple of games, including the Legends playing, and of course the big one, which you said will be at around 7 p.m. That is Vipers versus Kenya Police. Come and we support our very own, and Dr. Mulindwa, the honor has been ours. Thank you for the investment you have made in local sport. Please invite us again. I think we are all happy coming this side, and we come with good luck, with good energy, positive energy.
Oh, yeah.
So
if you take the title next season, just know
it's because we were here.
You'll jump from third to first because of us.
Okay, hashtag Vipers Day 2024. Do take care of yourselves. Have a good night.
Thank you.